Hey guys, welcome back to Millet's Go. Today, we're sharing our top 10 tips for an unforgettable trip to Belleayre Mountain Ski Resort and the charming town of Fleischmannsm in the Catskills. So I'm going to show you everything we planned for this trip and how it went and how you can make your trip better. Let's get started. All right, tip number one is planning your location to fly in wisely. See, for us, we had to pick some friends up in New York City, so we actually flew in to JFK. But my suggestion would actually be to fly into Albany, New York. From Albany to Belleayre Mountain is 1 hour and 40 minutes. Whereas from New York City, JFK or LaGuardia, you're looking at about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So you're adding an extra hour to your trip by doing it through New York City. All right, tip number two is car rentals and group transportation. Now, there were 7 of us on this trip, so we needed a big vehicle. Like I said, we actually met some people that were in New York, so they brought their vehicle as well. If you're going in the wintertime to ski, everyone is packing heavy because you need to bring ski gear and you need to bring warm clothes. Make sure you're not only planning for space for everyone to fit in the car, but also for trunk space as well. Tip number 3 is once you hit the road, start off the trip with a fun activity. You are between 2 and 3 hours away from the mountain. So if you plan to stay very close, which I recommend you do, then you don't want to fly in and then have to drive another 2 to 3 hours with nothing to do. Those coming from Albany, my suggestion would be to stop in the city of either Catskill or Hudson. You can find a lot of good food places, whether you want something fast, quick, and easy, or a little more authentic. We stopped at a restaurant along the way called Huckleberry. Huckleberry was a no reservation spot. It looks like they actually built the restaurant out of what used to be a house, so it's kind of got that homey vibe and feel. It's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. Another thing you can do along the way is stop and do an activity like an escape room or axe throwing, just to have fun before you have to drive another hour or so. We didn't do an activity on the way, but on the way home, we stopped and went to Escape Time Adventure, which I highly recommend. I'll leave the website link below. We're not sponsored by them, but we had a great time, and I highly recommend going to that specific place if you really enjoy escape rooms. All right, tip number 4 is stock up on essentials before you get to your hotel or Airbnb. If you're staying anywhere near Fleischmann, you are about an hour from the closest Walmart. So make a stop at the Walmart in Kingston. You're gonna wanna stop beforehand and not have to go back. The good thing is that there is a grocery store around Fleischmann, so you can get groceries when you're there. You're just not gonna be able to do Walmart type shopping once you're near the mountain. Tip number 5, choosing the right Airbnb or hotel. I'll tell you, I've always been an advocate of Airbnb. We're not sponsored by them, but we really enjoy using Airbnb. The Airbnb we stayed at was large because there were 7 of us, and it was perfect. It was excellent. Our host was amazing. It was nestled in this area, covered in snow, the perfect atmosphere of what you're looking for when you want to do a snowy vacation like this. I'll leave that Airbnb in the link below if you end up wanting to stay there as well. Tip number 6 is dinner at Peekamoose. There's not many restaurants you're gonna find around the mountain, but the good news is that Peekamoose restaurant makes up for all of that. It is a fantastic restaurant. Keep in mind, this is probably the highest fine dining you're gonna have, and it does live up to it. I would put this restaurant toe to toe with New York City restaurants, and it definitely has some high-end entrees, so be prepared that you are gonna spend a pretty penny. Also, you have to book reservations for Peekamoose. They are just so busy because there's not a lot of restaurants already, and everyone books reservations. All right, tip number 7 is maximize your ski time at Belleayre Mountain. Once you get to Belleayre Mountain, you want to spend as much time as you can there. Of course, hours are subject to change, but when we visited, they open at 9 o'clock and they close at 4. You're definitely gonna wanna beat the crowds. You're gonna wanna be there early in the morning because when you get there, they're gonna have a lot of people already getting set up. It's already gonna be busy. If you're going in peak season like we did, then there's just gonna be a lot of people. But luckily in the morning, it won't be nearly as packed as it will be by noon. Now they do accept walk-ins, but it's better to book online. When we booked, there was a $7 discount for booking online, and that's per person. So that can add up quick depending on how many people you have going. Prices will obviously change from the recording of this video, but we spent about $160 when we went. It was $100 for the ski ticket, $5 for the ski card, and the rest of the money, about $55, was for the rentals. Of course, if you're bringing kids, there's going to be a different price. So I'm going to put in the description below the link that'll give you the exact pricing in case any of it has changed from when we visited. Tip number 8 is the best way to ski the slopes. Now look, I'm no expert at skiing. I've only been a couple times in my life, to be honest. But after visiting Belleayre, I can say it's honestly one of the best ski mountains I've ever been to. With 171 acres, 50 trails and glades, and 2 parks, Belleayre has a ton to offer. When picking which slopes you want, remember green circles are the easiest slopes, blue squares are moderate, and of course black diamonds are difficult trails. We spent pretty much the whole day on blue squares, and for someone who hasn't skied a majority of their life, just only a handful of times on vacations, blue squares are manageable. It really depends on your coordination, and like I said, I'm not a ski expert, and this is not the video for that. There are so many routes you can take at Belleayre Mountain, and you're not going to feel like you've seen it all after one day. Now, when we got there, it was in February, and the weather was perfect. Perfect snow, perfect weather, everything was just fantastic. Obviously, that can change depending on the time you go, but they do say that February is perfect ski weather, so if you're going to go, even if there's a lot of people, it's totally worth it because you want good weather and you want good snow. Tip number 9 is to eat lunch on the slopes. I honestly didn't know until we got there if we were going to want to eat there or if we were going to leave and then come back. But if you're trying to optimize time, you're definitely going to want to eat there. And there's factors that I didn't process before, but when I was in the middle of it, it totally made sense to eat there. First, you have all of this ski or snowboard gear on you, and it's just so big and bulky, and you're not going to want to just take that off completely so you can get in a car, drive, leave, go get food, and come back. You could always pack a lunch, I guess, or bring that if you want to do that. But if you intend on leaving, I think you're going to waste a lot of your day and your time. They have a nice big restaurant with a lot of options. I can't speak for everyone else, but I think most of us, including myself, got the stew. And it was really exactly what we were looking for. It's a good hearty meal that kind of warms you up, but didn't make me so full and bloated that I wasn't able to ski the rest of the day. In fact, after skiing the entire morning, I was ready for some hearty food, and that stew was perfect. It was exactly what I was looking for. Because you're on the mountain and there's no other options, the food is pricey. We see this at amusement parks and sports events where the prices can just be higher because they know you don't have any other option. But regardless, I think the food is worth it, even for the price. So my suggestion is to eat on the slopes. Now, tip number 10 is stick together. This is a very big mountain and there's a lot of people, and it didn't seem unmanageable to find each other in the morning, but once it was lunchtime and we had split up into 2 groups, we were really struggling to find each other. There were people everywhere. Once you get to the lunch place, there are tables indoor and outdoor, and every single one of them is full. To be honest, I don't know how we found each other, but we did. And after that, we made plans to meet up at certain times at certain places. So pick a spot that everyone knows and can remember and get to easily, and meet up there at a certain time throughout the day so that if you do split up and you do get lost, you can always find each other again. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you for watching. If you have personal experiences with any of the tips that I said or anything I haven't said, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Let everyone else know. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications if you enjoy this content and you want to see more like this. Until next time, Millet's go.